want to put something in my nose, would you edit that out? Like if I get too stuffy? Huh?
Actually, if you want me to, I'll definitely edit it out.
Yeah, if you do.
Well, you can. You know what? You can do it when the cam. You can just if he's
How
gonna
would I
do
do
it, you can just take the camera off of him for a second.
If you want us to edit it, we'll just make sure. I'll try to take notes of what
Are
time.
you still doing 3 streams? So you have one of me, one of him, and one of both of us. Yeah. Okay. I'm looking forward to Kelly coming next week. I think I encourage Patrick to get that one up. I think that's a great one that Patrick, that you can get James to work on, because I think she'll draw. Like, I think people will just love her. I know these boys love her. So yeah, and she's interesting. She's like
She really is. Like, she's so cool. And we can change the topic. We can start with vaginas.
Yeah.
And then move on from there. But
Well, I think the next one she wants to do is less interesting. Like the last one was about vaginas, which was
always interesting.
that was interesting for us. And she wants to talk about mental health, which is
Yeah, no, that's a good one, though.
that's something she's very passionate about.
Yeah, really.
So welcome to the Epicus. Are we started? Are we rolling? Welcome to the Epicus.
Right. Hey.
Eli, my cohort.
Doug.
I'm Doug, and we're going to talk about a bunch of things today. I think, right?
You want to start with intermittent fasting? I think which
Yeah.
is a
So
great
last
topic.
week we talked about diet, and we don't mean diet like fad diets. We mean
Let's clarify.
lifestyle diet. You know, living, eating well in a certain way for extended periods of time. And one thing we missed was, because I consider part of diet is intermittent fasting.
I'd agree.
And I think that's a pretty new thing that people are focusing on now. Like, how long do you think that's been around?
I think it's peaking now.
Yeah.
It's probably 5 years, I would say.
5 years.
Yeah.
And I've been
5 years
doing it
back.
probably for about 2 or 3, I think. And so intermittent fasting is when you take a break. So let's say your last meal. Let's say you eat at 8 o'clock at night, and that's your last meal for the day, and then you go to bed. Everybody fasts because you go to bed and you sleep, and so you're fasting whether you like it or not. And then you wake up, and typically you're going to have a breakfast. Some people eat right away. Some want to have their coffee first and then eat.
Some people can eat in the morning.
Some people can eat in the morning, so they actually fast but they may not, because so intermittent fasting is taking that break, and then really what you do is you keep pushing the limit of how long you don't eat. So I think the best the sweet spot is 16 hours of no eating, right? And then after that, I think it even increases even to a better level at 18 hours, and then so on and so forth. But 16 is where you want to end up, right?
It depends on the goal as well.
Yeah.
I think from my reading and understanding and listening to the experts, there's something called senescent cells. So zombie cells, cells that are dead. They don't serve any function, but they just float around the body. So
I think I have a lot of those in my brain, I think.
yeah, I'm sure you do.
Right. Yeah.
So between 18 and 20 hours, I think is the goal for if you're looking for senescence. It depends on the goal. What you're trying to achieve from fasting would determine the amount of hours, and then we'll talk about men and women.
Okay.
Because there are differences. In
Okay,
the
you know
times,
that. I didn't know that. I only know about men.
yeah.
So for me, so what are some of the benefits? And then I'll explain
Yeah.
how I got into intermittent fasting. So some of the benefits are autophagy, right? Taking the dead cells, converting them to, I think processing through the liver, am I correct? And then turning them into protein. So they become protein. So, there's if you go to the old school bodybuilding thinking, it's like you have to eat 6 times a day, small meals.
Every
you got to
2
keep,
hours.
keep it fueled, keep it fueled, keep it fueled. If you don't eat, you're going to go into become
Catabolic.
start eating your own muscle. Well, science now is showing it's the opposite. When you fast, you're actually producing protein for the muscles, and you're actually healing yourself. There's a lot of healing factors that come from taking a break. So let's just talk about a few. One is the autophagy, the creation of protein from dead cells, right? So you're getting protein into your cells. The other is giving your gut a rest, right? Because when you eat too much, you're just processing. So giving it a break and letting it reset. The other is around insulin, right? So every time you eat, you produce insulin.
No matter what you eat, we should clarify that.
Yeah.
A lot of people think only carbs will spike insulin. However, protein and a lot of proteins will increase insulin.
Yeah.
Be it some a little bit and some to a high degree.
Yeah. Now, obviously, sugars spike insulin because it's trying to process all this glucose, right? but nonetheless, when you put food in your body starts producing insulin. And the extreme of intermittent, opposite of intermittent fasting would be someone who eats sugar all the time and often, right? And they're spiking their insulin, become insulin resistant, and eventually their body stops producing insulin. It fails, right? And that's a diabetic, right? Effectively a diabetic. So intermittent fasting does the opposite. It starts to reset your
sensitivity to
insulin sensitivity, right? And so your body now will process food better and produce insulin. So insulin sensitivity, and correct me if I'm wrong, is when the body's producing insulin, but it's not recognizing it. So it's producing more and more and more. It's kind of like it's numb to
it's not penetrating the cell.
Yeah, it's not penetrating the cell. And insulin is a fat-storing hormone. So one of the benefits again I'd say it's a side benefit. It really shouldn't be a goal, but it could be, is weight loss. Of intermittent fasting, because you're resetting your insulin production, because you're dealing with the potentially, and I think most people as they get older probably have some level of insulin resistance. So you're resetting the insulin resistance, bringing it back to normal, and your body's just using fat stores to produce energy anyways.
And I mean, you're not eating a certain amount of hours, so your total calories typically go down when you're doing.
So when I'll share my protocol. You can tell me yours. I didn't reduce the calories. So hold on, I got to adjust my mic here. Apparently, yeah. Would you come and do it? I don't think I'm going to break it. So so weight loss is something that can come from it as well. I find also there's things like clarity of thought.
Big time.
And without giving away everything, I pretty much fast until I get home at the end of the day. So I'm super clear during the day at work.
So give us an example of your day. You wake up and then what? And let's talk about fasting, because there's a misconception. A lot of people think I can take branched chain amino acids, or I can take this, or I can take that. Let me. What happens when you wake up, other than you say, "Oh, I got to get up again."
No, I like getting up.
I know. So what do you do?
Like really high. Okay, there you go. You're good. All right.
So what do you do when you wake up? What do you have? What do you start off with?
Okay. Well, can I start with how I got into intermittent fasting? Or
Sure.
No? You want? Okay, well, I'll do your thing. So I wake up in the morning, and I don't use an alarm. I haven't used an alarm for years. My body just tells me to get up. Unfortunately, sometimes it tells me to get up too early. But usually I get up around 5. That's my get up time. And I used to just a side topic. I used to. Hear about these 5 a.m.ers, and you get up and then you be successful and get up at 5 a.m. I'm like, oh, you guys are idiots. Sleep till late, And somehow I just end up, I didn't do it intentionally.
I thought you always would have got up early.
No, I used to love sleeping in. Oh my gosh.
I couldn't picture that.
So I'm up at 5 and then I go turn on my coffee. Or no, actually I usually have the timer set for 5. So when I finally get out of the room, the coffee machine has made my coffee and so, in intermittent fasting, I can't have milk, cream, whatever. I can't put sugar in. Right. It's black coffee. I use a bit of not coconut oil. Damn it.
MCT.
Thank you. See, I don't
I'm
know
here
how
for
I
a
get by.
reason.
I don't know how I get by without you.
I'm here for a reason.
You're my Ed McMahon. For anybody who knows what that is. Put a little bit of MCT powder in, which kind of like a creamer for me, and that doesn't affect insulin production at that.
Right.
And then I still have my coffee, and I do my prayer time and my time with God and quiet time, and usually listen to like a mini service on my iPad, and just sit there. And then I wait until 5 a.m. is 2.5 hours before my son gets up. Or I need to get him up. He's a teenager,
Yeah, correct.
And so, somewhere I might go and shower. Like I might go and shower at 7 a.m. And then I'll go wake my son up, and then I start making him breakfast and making his lunch for school, and that's it. And then
So again, let's talk about you're not ingesting anything.
I'm not ingesting
black
anything.
coffee with MCT.
Yeah.
And then again, MCT. Will not break a fast. I think a lot of experts will back that up.
And
so
and a lot of people thought, oh, you're cooking your son breakfast, aren't you like starving? I said no, because I don't. A lot of hunger comes from thought, right? I mean, obviously our bodies need nutrients to survive, but that feeling of hunger is a lot of it's from thought. You know, if you, as soon as I get home and I start thinking about food, I start getting hunger pangs, right? But all day when I'm busy, I don't think about it. I don't have hunger pangs.
The other thing
A
about
lot of it's
hunger
psychological.
and fasting is, and this is also not just a I think also you acclimate to it.
Yes.
Your body simply gets used to not eating at a certain time and eating when you actually prepare yourself to eat, sit down and eat. So
Yeah. So what I was doing then was before I got into the number of hours I do now, I thought, okay, I'll eat at lunch. I'll wait till lunch, you know. And I would suggest for most people, you wait, you know, maybe if you normally eat at 8, wait till 10, you know.
yes,
Do
good
that
way
for
to
a month.
start. Yeah, we should talk about that later. An intro way of doing it.
Okay. And then so I was bringing lunch, and I would eat lunch at work, and that was part of a pain in the ass because I hate having to pack a lunch and bring it. So I stopped eating lunch. I said, I'll eat, maybe I'll have a snack. I'll find a snack somewhere in the mid-afternoon. And I said, forget it. I'll just wait till I get home. So I went from, you know, and I usually don't eat past about 8. So I went from 8 to about 4, you know. So how many hours is that? That's 12, I don't know. It's more than 16.
Wait, when do you start eating? What time approximately?
Yeah, it's about 20 hours.
Yeah, of fasting.
Of fasting. So I got to a point, and that was over a period of months. You know, I started with the 16 hours, and then I got to up to 20 hours. I went all the way to where I wouldn't eat for one meal, OMAD they call it, one meal a day. And I used to hear these people talk about OMAD, and I thought, oh, you guys are nuts, eating one meal a day. And so I got to that point where I said, I'm just going to try one meal a day, because I was doing 2 meals in 4 hours anyways. I said, let's try one. And I shared this with you before. The problem is I was gorging. You know, I was trying to get my calories. I mean, to get the amount of calories I need just to maintain was like so much food in my gut that I would go to bed with still, you know, undigested food, and it was not good.
And you're very disciplined. So a lot of people doing OMAD or one meal a day might make the wrong food choices to get those calories. And you figure, and that's the problem with one meal a day. And we're seeing anecdotal evidence of that, is people are making the wrong choices.
Yeah, it can't be anything. I mean,
no.
Well, you could intermittent fast and eat the same garbage you've eaten all your life, and you're going to do better.
You'd better, but it's not.
But it's not the ideal.
Not long term.
No. And so I went back to when I get home at 4 or 3. You know, I'm not really. Whenever I get home, I'm gonna have a bite, a little bite. You know, not a full meal, and then I probably won't eat till dinner time after that. So and like nothing. This, but today was like weird. It was I got home a bit early because my son got out of school early, and so we were home at like 2:30, and I had a snack, and then I had a bite about an hour later, not a full meal, like a bowl of something, and then I had a protein bar, and so I really didn't eat a lot today. I probably should eat more, but
why don't you eat after this?
It's going to be past ready? 8, I think.
And you'll stop. You won't eat if it's past 8.
I don't do well taking food in my gut to bed.
Yeah.
You know, I'm better. I do better when I go to bed on an empty stomach.
Are you hungry? Do you go to bed hungry and you fight it, or no?
I never feel hungry going to bed. Plus, when I hit the pillow, I don't even remember hitting the pillow most nights. So
can we back it up a little bit? So you have your coffee in the morning.
Yeah.
And
I can have a coffee during the day.
Okay. And then just water and coffee?
I've got to be careful with coffee, because if I have a coffee like at 5, I won't sleep well. I'll fall asleep, but I'll wake up at 3 in the morning.
So water and coffee.
Water and coffee, electrolytes. I drink electrolytes.
No calories?
No calories.
Good.
0 sugar. Sweetened with stevia.
Yeah.
So I know I don't like this. I don't like the aspartames and the sucraloses and all that garbage.
That's another topic. That's another
topic. But but I will drink something that is water, basically with some flavor, and stevia or erythritol or something like that. You know, that's pretty okay. And that's it. Yeah. And so that's right now I usually eat within about a 4-hour period. But on Saturday and Sunday, I sort of, Sunday especially, Sunday's like a whatever day, you know. I'll eat breakfast, I'll eat lunch, I'll eat dinner, I'll eat in between. I'll eat more than I normally eat. And so I don't fast on Sunday.
I think that's a wise decision.
By the way, which is probably opposite of what, you know, other Christians
most people
do.
do. Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah. You're a reverse Christian.
I'm a reverse Christian, yeah. So.
But I think that's good, because you may not be getting enough calories all week. And by doing that, you're suppressing a hormone called leptin, which regulates your metabolism. That Sunday that you're doing that is going to spike, is going to help increase that leptin and keep your metabolism going well. So I think that's a great idea to do that.
Yeah. And Saturday, I'm a little looser. Like I normally do hill training at 9:30, home by 10:30, showered, and then maybe I'll eat at noon. So I won't push the window on a Saturday. If I want to, I do, and if I don't feel like it, so I'm pretty lenient that way. It just works out really well on weekdays because I'm at work most of the day, and then by the time I get home, it's 3:30 or 4, and because often. And one thing I should mention is I always try and remain fasted until I do my workout, right? So I will always try and work out on an empty, like in a fasted state. So if I have a workout at 3:00 on a Monday, and even if I'm hungry at 2, I won't eat. I'm going to go do my workout, and then I'm going to eat afterwards. So when I do hill training on a Saturday, when I finish at 11, 12, I'm okay to eat, but I won't go do, and that's different for everybody.
Right.
My wife has to eat before training,
And I think that's an important distinction. I think that fasted training is not for everybody, and that again is another show as well. But
yeah,
it works for you.
It works for me, and I think there are benefits to.
There are benefits for sure. Growth
training.
hormone releasing is a big one, so you increase that.
But I train better on a fasted. I mean, if I can eat like 3 or 4 hours before training, I'd probably do fine. But anyway, so I fast 5 days a week, really, like the 20 hours, and then Saturday's kind of flexible, and Sundays anything goes. And I eat a lot of stuff I normally not bad food, because I'm mostly carnivore, but I Sunday I'm a keto guy. Like I'm eating keto stuff. Funny enough, I'm way more bloated and gassy and all that stuff on a Sunday. Yeah, even a keto. Like the carnivore, when it comes to that, is just so good.
Super clean. Yeah, it really is. Yeah.
So that's Mike. What about you?
So I've been on and off with fasting.
Yeah.
I take certain meds that help me sleep. I had to say, kind of make me hungry. So that's really kiboshed my fasting for now. But it hasn't impacted. I'd like to get back to it. I fully plan on get back to it. And what I like to do with fasting is, and I think this would be a good sort of intro or bare minimum for most people, and it's science driven as well. Try and fast 3 hours prior to bed, and delay your eating 1 hour after awakening. And I think that again, I got to credit Professor Huberman, the Huberman Lab show for bringing that to my attention. And that's a really good way to start fasting. What I had done historically were 12-hour fasts. Stop eating at 7 p.m. and eat at 7 a.m. And that worked amazingly. So again, 12 hours would be a minimum, depending on your goals.
But isn't 16 hours kind of it's like there's a switch, like something changes dramatically in the fasting protocol?
Maybe in the autophagy area.
Autophagy,
Yeah, I know for body composition, which I think most people do it for body composition. That is reducing body fat and trying to increase lean muscle mass. 12 hours is the minimum, and it worked great. It actually worked great. I do prefer. I like 16 hours as well, but as a bare minimum, I'll get back to 12 hours to start that fasting program again. But I want to back up a little bit. I think it's important that, and I'm not an expert in women's health, but women shouldn't be fasting is the same amount of time as men.
Is that right? Eh?
Yeah, from a hormonal perspective. I know from thyroid, it affects their thyroid more so than men. And there might be other hormonal reasons why they shouldn't, maybe other pathways like estrogen. I'm not sure, but it's been a reoccurring theme on what I'm in my reading is women should fast maybe 10 to 12 hours, and men 16 and more, or 12 to and more.
Yeah. And, by the way, you can. Okay, so women are a strange breed anyway. So in many ways, they're a strange breed. I love my wife though.
Yeah,
but they're a strange breed. You can fast, actually. You can go like up to 48 hours, I think, and still maintain that autophagy, still not get into catabolic state, I think 48 hours is the sort of the limit, right? So you can do, I know some people don't fast all week, but then they'll do a 48-hour fast or a 24-hour fast once a week, And that's another way of intermittent fasting.
Yeah, it is. You could do one 24-hour fast a week as well.
Yes.
Which is, some people might fast on a Sunday, for example.
Yeah.
Unlike you.
No, I do the opposite.
You do the opposite.
So, body composition, there's a general health thing, definitely for the gut, giving the gut a rest. Insulin production, like there's a whole bunch of benefits to fasting.
Like you said, clarity.
Clarity, like I'm
mental
clear at
focus is
work,
a-
you know.
yeah.
Well, as soon as I eat, if I go, because once in a while I'll break my fast to take the staff to lunch or something, right? And that's it, man. I'm done. Like I need to have a nap. in
Yeah,
between,
no
you know?
kidding. Yeah. I mean, eating is energy. Like it just takes so much energy.
Yeah.
It's either more than sex or less than sex, but it's up there. It's one of the two
Oh, no, it's
things
less
that
than sex.
less than sex.
I'm out cold
Oh,
after
it
that.
depends. Yeah, it depends.
I'm useless to the world for about a couple hours. All right. So, anything else you want to talk about fasting?
We talked about what not to have, anything, but so 0 calories.
Zero calories.
We talked about different times, different modalities of training,
Yep.
fasting rather, and different benefits with those modalities. And we talked about the women's and men. I think we're good for now.
All
Again, we don't do deep dives. We just like to bring
So
attention.
I would
to
recommend intermittent. I would recommend intermittent fasting. It does take a bit of discipline, and I wouldn't suggest someone go from no fasting to try and do 18 hours of fasting.
So again, you can
unless
start-
you're that's your way of thinking. But for most people, they're not going to last. They're going to be
Yeah.
starving for 3-4 days, and they're going to say this doesn't work.
and then you're going to binge afterwards. So
Yeah.
I think again, start with 2 hours prior to bed and 1 hour upon awakening, and I think it's a good way of introducing fasting too.
I feel great on it.
Yeah,
And
I did too.
And being in ketosis, by the way, is a nice addition because the body's looking for fat stores anyways. You know, when you're fasting, it's just I got some. I don't have a bunch, but I got a little bit. You know,
use it up.
I use it up.
Yeah,
All right. Why don't we talk about? I think we wanted to talk about exercise today.
yeah. That's a fun one.
Different styles of exercise, or what did you call them?
Modalities.
It's fancy. You're
Yeah, it's a
fancy.
big one. I looked it up on the way here.
Did you?
Fuck, that's a good word.
Huh,
I'm gonna
that's
use it on
right.
the show.
I got to look intelligent. Let me. Look.
Yeah, I know.
What's another word for?
Oh, now I'm stuck. I only
Righty.
got one good word.
Yeah. So, why don't you start? Because you're, I
Oh,
would
where
say,
do you
Eli,
start?
that you are more of an exercise expert than I am. I think you're more disciplined. I only train well with a trainer, and the trainer tells me what to do, and I'll do it. As opposed to, if I was left to my own devices, my training would probably suck.
You
pretty
think?
bad.
Eh?
Oh yeah.
You're disciplined in every other area, though, like of your life.
Well, not every other area. But I'm disciplined in food. I don't know what it is about food. Food for me is a switch on and off. Eat, don't eat, eat this,
I think
don't
that's
eat
great.
this.
Yeah,
That's easy for me.
Well, quick question: are you an emotional eater?
Sometimes.
Cool. Okay.
But the nice
You're
thing about,
human. Wow.
but the nice thing about keto is it's fatty. So
You get
fat
satisfied.
fat and sugar are two emotional foods, right? So if I'm feeling, I'll just eat more keto. Like
Yeah.
ghee. I'll eat spoonfuls of ghee. So not really. That's gross. But so exercise. Yeah. So
Yeah.
I'm not I wouldn't ever be a trainer because I'm really not. I'm disciplined in that I set it in my schedule and I go and I train.
And you train hard.
And I train hard, but I train hard with a trainer.
Yeah. Right.
I will tell you that with my trainer, I train as hard as I can because he pushes me, and he was on our show and hopefully back again sometime. But when I'm not with my trainer, it's probably about maybe 75%.
Not bad.
Not that I'm not motivated. I don't push myself as hard as I would. Like I let him push me.
But I think that'd be the same case for anybody, right? I know I do train hard on my own, but when I have a trainer, I train that much harder. You have no choice, right? You have to. There's accountability, and
But I'm not disciplined. I'm disciplined in time. Like
Yeah.
I will go to the gym, but I'm not disciplined in protocols and ways to
Right,
do it
okay.
and modalities.
modalities.
I'm not really
big one.
disciplined.
I
in
love
what-
that stuff. I geek out on that. Sort
Okay,
of thing.
so go nuts, man.
Wow, throw something at me. Where do you start?
I don't just like what different. I don't even know what the word modalities means. I'm just trusting you that it means something.
I just made it kind of. I don't know what it is. It just sounds good.
All right. Well,
Protocols.
yes,
Different
like types of exercise.
types of
Like there's
exercise.
weightlifting.
There's weightlifting. There's cardio. But even within, let's say, the resistance training.
Okay.
I mean, you can use body weight. And there's
I
also
hate body weight, by the way.
really, huh?
So there's at Mooney's there's a CrossFit area, and it's all body weight stuff. Oh my god, I hate body weight's tough.
push-ups. Really?
Yeah, body weight's tough, man.
Oh,
Maybe I weigh too much. That's the problem.
that could be it.
I
lost
if
weight recently.
If it was
like
Jaden's
4
body
months
weight, it would be easy.
ago. So
Body weight, yeah.
So body weight, and you could just break these down. Even within body weight training, you could train for endurance. You can train for strength, and in resistance training, which body weight is part of, there's different tempos that you can use.
And are there benefits to each one?
Yeah, it depends on what your current goal would be.
So what would the goals be to let's just talk about
Build
resistance
muscle.
training for now. Build
Yeah.
muscle, strengthen the body, right?
So with resistance, you will build muscle, and it's most experts even will say that it when you have more muscle, you are burning more fat. I mean, that's just a fact. You're metabolically more active.
Right.
You're burning more calories at rest. So many people make the mistake of using cardio as their main modality for
losing weight,
losing weight,
losing fat.
when it could be the other.
I think
it definitely complements.
I think they've shown that cardio actually isn't as good. I think
it's not. As
I
good
think
as
the
it is.
best one is walking, right?
Yeah, walking. Yes,
Apparently, walking is one of the best
Amazing.
things to lose fat.
it just doesn't make sense, but it does.
Yeah.
Like,
So I'm all for cardio. It's great for heart health, great for just a general feeling well-being. You don't lose your breath when you're walking up a set of stairs or whatever the hell, right? But it's not the end all and be all.
it isn't. And then again, we can talk about breaking down cardio. There's different forms of cardio.
Okay, can we go back to weights?
Yeah, let's go back to weight.
I think
training.
I would
or
say
resistance. Let's call it resistance.
training. So I would say that resistance training and cardio through sport. So I don't just do cardio on its own, like running or the treadmill or stairmaster. Like,
But your hill training is a form of cardio.
yeah, but it's group, right? So I'm under peer pressure to perform. I tried jogging once and I did it for a week or two and I really hated it. Like I admire people who do it. I don't see anybody jogging, by the way, who looks happy. But it was just so difficult for me to do. I need to be distracted by another goal. So, kickboxing is cardio, obviously,
Yeah.
like a lot of cardio, but I'm kickboxing. That's what I'm interested in. I just happen to get cardio. When I used to play soccer, a lot of cardio, but it was because I wanted to play soccer. You know what I mean? And so cardio is not something but weights is something, resistance training is something I've consistently been interested in and for different reasons. And
What is the main reason?
I'll just say, I just want to go back to autophagy and intermittent fasting. The traditional thinking is if you don't eat regularly, you're going to lose muscle mass.
Right.
But I'm pretty muscular, and I don't take steroids. I do take TRT. I do my hormone replacement therapy, but not to extreme level, just to a normal level. And therapeutic level, yeah. And so, this philosophy that you lose muscle is not true. I've actually gained muscle on intermittent fasting. So, what do I like? I like it for, okay, if I'm honest, vanity.
So you want to look good.
I want to look good. I want to look good for my wife. I want to look good when I strip down in front of her. I want to go, oh, that looks good. and for my own self-esteem. And also, I'm going to reveal something to the audience, is that I used to be a chubby boy. And so I used to get teased a lot as a chubby boy. And I think actually one of the pictures in my intro is of me as a chubby boy. Yeah. And so,
Didn't they call you Chubby Dougie?
well,
I just made
no,
that
but
up.
that hurts, man. So I've carried that with me. It's funny, these things that happen in your childhood,
Yeah.
they carry with you, So I've always wanted to be lean. And the funny thing is I used to be, up until COVID, I was always very lean, except for when I went through that period where my testosterone was low. And, I shared that on another episode. But I still, because I had this thing I was carrying from childhood, I could pinch like a little bit of skin and go, oh, I gotta lose some weight, I remember when I played soccer, I was 7% body fat.
That's crazy. Do you have pictures of that?
I probably do.
Should be posting those.
I should, yeah. But I used to pinch my skin and go, oh, I got to lose some more fat.
7%, dude.
Yeah,
That's crazy.
it's ridiculous, yeah. So, so vanity is one of the reasons to stay lean. I feel good when I do weights. Like, it holds my body together, especially as you get older. You know, it holds things together, and
Bone density is another
bone
important,
density. Yeah, and so, but if I'm honest, number one is vanity. Number two is just being, physically fit, and then the rest is sort of byproducts.
right? The health, overall health, you need it.
Yeah, but I wouldn't say if it was just health, I probably would do something else. But I like looking muscular.
And it's practical though, because along the way, I mean, we can differentiate between hypertrophy training for muscle building and then strength training. And
Okay, well, why don't we do that? Because I don't even know what you're talking about.
okay, so within the resistance training, be it body weight, be it kettlebells, be it barbells, dumbbells, whatever you're doing, the tempo of the repetitions are important depending on your goal.
Yeah.
So typically, and the amount of repetitions and the amount of volume, overall volume, training volume. So if we're talking about building muscle, normally you're looking at higher volume, less rest between sets. So for example,
So a higher volume of reps?
of total reps sets, you could take it as a total at the end of the
So
session.
I always
for
had the
example.
impression, and this is maybe old school thinking, was you did heavier weights, less reps for bigger muscle. You did lighter weights and more reps for a kind of a leaner muscle.
Yeah, a little old school.
Okay, well, I'm old.
So where are we now? Yeah. So so training to build muscle. I mean, there's certainly truth to that.
And
but
you
it
train to
goes
failure?
beyond it.
Because
I personally don't.
That was also another. I think that was Arnie Schwarzenegger's thing, right?
Yeah,
Always
that
train to
one-
failure.
Definitely, and then that's more of a bodybuilding thing. Training to failure.
Failure is when you just can't use your muscles anymore.
You're stuck and you can't do
Like
positive.
I have a 5-pound dumbbell feels like 500 pounds.
That's right. Yeah. Then you train to failure. So that's another discussion as well. I'm not a big believer in training to failure because it does cause a lot of central nervous system fatigue.
Or it doesn't.
Is it good for bodybuilding? Yes. Is it good for strength training? No. And my emphasis is more strength training.
Yeah, you're about strength.
More so. I
I mean,
do wanna,
you are about body composition too.
absolutely, for sure.
You're vain.
Yeah, big time.
I'm putting that on you, but
No,
I'm
no,
just
no,
assuming you are.
I think that's my middle name, but I just rubbed it off.
That's right. But yes, because you talk about that a lot. You love the strength.
I like strength training. What I want to be, the phrase that coined for me is, I want to be as strong as I look. So I want to look strong. Sorry, guys, it's not working, I guess, but I'm working at it. I want to look strong and be strong, and that's my main goal. So I don't train to positive muscular.
So what's the difference between training for? So I'm not interested in getting huge. So my previous trainer wanted me to get bigger. That was the goal.
bodybuilder?
Yeah, she's a bodybuilder, and I respect that. But it's not what I want because I still want to do kickboxing. The more muscle mass I have, the slower I am in
For sure.
kickboxing.
You
And the
use
more energy
oxygen.
uses.
Yes.
Like it's a deterrent actually in martial arts and a lot of cardio stuff.
Absolutely.
To be too muscular. So I don't want to get bigger. I just want to get leaner and more full or whatever you call
Density.
it. Yeah, like a density, right?
Yeah.
So I'm interested in that. But what's the difference between that kind of training and training for strength? What?
Well, I think one of the main things is again the volume, the amount of rest between sets is important.
So for strength, you're doing what?
Strength training would normally be between 1 and 5 repetitions.
Oh, really?
Yes.
1 and 5.
Yes.
Wow.
And for building muscles, normally 8 to 12, for example.
1 to 5. Wow, I'm surprised.
Yeah.
So you could do 1 rep and say it was a good set.
That's one set for sure. You can definitely train singles. I've done like single reps, and then you take a minute or 2 minutes rest and do it again. Absolutely, it's probably one of the best ways to get strong is to do singles.
Okay.
There are many ways, but this is one good way. And then you would take 3 to 5 minutes rest between sets.
3 to
Just
5?
Yeah.
What do you do for 3 to 5 minutes?
Walk around.
Get on your
have
phone,
a pizza.
look,
you can,
surf the net.
like if you have pizza from the night before, you'd
Seriously?
no.
I don't know.
No, but and that freaks out a lot of people because most people don't train necessarily for strength. And when you tell them to
I'm
rest,
assuming that's heavier weights, by the way.
it's heavier weights for sure.
So the potential damage to the body is greater, I think, right?
Not to them not to the nervous system. It's
No, but
actually
to
a
the
tonic.
joints and the tendons and the
Well, I mean,
ligaments?
you could look at it the other way. You could see that you could say that it actually strengthens tendons and ligaments.
I'm asking, by the way.
Yeah, no,
I'm not telling you.
Okay, so I'm going to tell you that it strengthens. You can't hurt yourself, but you can hurt yourself doing anything.
Right.
You
But if you're doing, like, if I'm doing a chest press with 20 pounders, very unlikely I'm going to hurt myself. I'm not going to gain a lot of muscle. I'm probably going to build a bit of endurance and stuff.
But you won't hurt your joints.
But I won't hurt myself, you know?
But you can't hurt your joints by doing too many reps. Just as constant wear and tear on those joints.
Yeah.
So that lightweight can, perhaps over time.
So few reps, how many sets? How many sets for, like, let's say you're doing a chest press. You do 1, 2, 3, 4 reps or whatever. Then you stop for a few minutes. You go back. How many other times do you do that?
Here's a classic way of thinking strength training. 3 to 5. So everything is 3 to 5. You're doing 3 to 5 sets of an exercise, 3 to 5 reps.
Of one particular type of exercise.
One particular.
So
let's
a chest
take
press.
bench press, yes.
Or fly. Or
Well, if you're training strength, you're not going to do low repetitions strength modality with flies with an isolation movement. You're going to do it more of a compound exercise that's using multiple joints. Okay. So 3 to 5 sets, 3 to 5 reps, 3 to 5 minutes between sets, and training 3 to 5 days a week. It's a really easy way and classic way of getting into strength training.
That's cool. So I'm starting to realize that muscles are not like they just do one. Like, they can respond to things in a different way. So they could become stronger. I'm assuming when you get stronger, you get bigger too, though.
Normally, yeah.
But they get strong. They can be for strength, or they can be for speed, or they can be for just size, right? Because one of the things I've been doing more of is holding.
Yeah, isometrics. Yeah, that's one of my favorites.
Yeah, and what that's good for is more explosive
strength.
power.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know, for punching it, if I do chest presses where I just hold it, I get more explosive power out of that ultimately.
On that note, what you can do is, if you're in a power rack, you have a little bit of, let's say, some weight on the bar, and you're pushing against the pins on the power rack.
Oh yeah.
So you're pushing against that. You have a little bit of weight pushing back on you. Amazing. But isometrics is one of my favorite modalities. But that's everything. It's great for martial artists because it develops what's called speed strength. It actually burns a ton of fat too.
Okay.
It gets you lean. It gives.
And
you
would you do that for strength as well?
Absolutely. 100%. Yeah.
Okay. So there's training for just body composition. There's training for strength.
Endurance.
So those guys, endurance is training for whatever. But there's those guys that do the what do you call that? The Scottish games there,
Oh, Highland Games.
The Highland Games, like strongmen stuff.
Yeah, strongman stuff for sure.
Yeah, and they would do the kind of training you're talking about.
They would definitely do that. That would be the most. That would be the core part of their training.
Yep.
But then you would mix other exercises, like let's say in isolation. We talked about doing a chest press, and then you would complement that with, let's say, a fly, and you're going to do higher reps. So these strongman power lifters will mix different things. They'll start off with their core exercises, low reps, and the whole 3 to 5 thing, and then they'll do accessory exercises just to work on different angles and different muscles to complement that particular lift. But you're doing it for higher repetitions, more of a bodybuilding. When I say bodybuilding, less rest between sets, lighter weight, and more repetitions and more sets.
And that's what bodybuilders do?
Yeah, typically, yes.
So I had a thought there, but I've lost it.
It'll come back.
It may maybe come back. So strength training, body composition, speed and agility, and then this. I think it's also important. I don't know what my thought was. Now it's important to us to do different things in different days. Like to not do the same exercise day after day, week after week, month after month.
Depends what your goal is. There's something called same but different, for example, and which is a good way. How I like to structure my typical workouts is full body, and I'm working on different movement patterns. So there's.
So what I'm suggesting is that, let's say I do 10 reps, 3 sets of 10 reps, and that's my workout for whatever muscle parts I'm working out that day. And I do that for the week. My thing is 3 sets of 10. Well, the next week I might do, I do sometimes like 50 reps.
On one set?
No, I'll do as many as I can. I'll take a break and then like a few seconds, and then I'll keep going until I hit 50.
Get to 50. Cool, yeah.
And so that could be the next week. It's like 50s, that's my goal. And then the next week could be, I got this one from Sherry, 30, 10 threes, do 30 reps, then 10 reps, then 3 reps with heavier and heavier weights, or 5, 10, 20s, the opposite, from heavyweight to lightweight, So 5 reps, then 10 reps, then 20 reps.
Very much a bodybuilding scheme.
Yeah. Okay. But the thing is that it's never the same each week. It's like, okay, but this week is the 10s, next week is the 30, 10 threes, the next week is whatever, and so on and so forth. And I could be wrong. Again, it could be this really old school thinking, but I was told that you need to switch it up.
Yeah.
Kind of trick the muscles into not becoming complacent. I don't know. Is that true?
It is true, but it depends on your goals, right? What you're talking about is more of a body composition, more for somebody who wants to put on muscle, because those higher reps and that higher volume is meant to put on muscle. So,
but it doesn't also work different parts of the muscle. So training with
reps?
Jordan, well, not the reps necessarily, just switching it up. So training with Jordan, I don't think we do the same thing twice.
Well, give me an example of your a workout. Like how do you split it? So that's another thing. How do you split your training? Is it by body part?
Yes, by body part. So
okay, so give me an
typically
example.
lower legs and glutes, right? That's a workout. And then shoulders, it depends. If I'm with Jaden, he'll pick. Sometimes he'll do shoulders and arms, and then chest and back, or shoulders and back. Or when I was training on my own, I was break it down into five different workouts. I do legs, arms, chest, shoulders, and back, and those would be 5 different workouts.
You're hitting each body part, each workout once a week.
Yeah.
Okay. So science shows that if you want to build muscle, a minimum twice a week is the best. Hitting a body part twice a week.
Okay.
So you could change your split, and we can talk about that off air if you want.
Well, I don't set my own agenda now.
Oh yeah.
Jordan sets my agenda.
You're not trying to gain muscle anyway.
I'm not trying to gain muscle.
No,
I am.
size.
And when I train with Jaden, it's more for him anyways. So I'll just do whatever he wants to do. But when I train with Jordan, it's all over the place. Like there's always, even though it's not cardio, there's a cardio component to it. Like
fast paced.
Yeah, the pace and the number of reps and
Sure.
and going from, like, he'll do a circuit, like a really quick circuit, and you keep going that circuit, and you keep going and that's it. It's not technically cardio, but it is cardio.
It is, man.
I'm sweating at the end.
Yeah, no, it's cardio for
Yeah.
sure, because your heart rate doesn't have a chance to come down much.
Yeah. And so, but you're saying that switching it up is for bodybuilders, like switching up, I do this style this week, I'll do another style next week, I'll do another style.
Right.
That's for bodybuilders.
I think so. Yeah, that's my viewpoint. So for, let's say, if you want sort of in the middle, if you want strength and size, with an emphasis on strength, because the size will come.
Yeah, I think that's important to say. I think size will come. If you're working out your muscles, size will come.
Well,
maybe not the same size, but size will just come.
Well, there's a saying that an amazing guy, we should have him on here, Matt Burns, I got to give him a shout out, is a trainer that I had many years ago, and he's brilliant. He has a gymnastics background, and the phrase that he coined is form follows function. So look at a gymnast. Look at the gymnast's body. They have that body because of the function that they're doing.
Right.
And it's the same thing with
they're not
strength
trying
training.
to build them up.
They're not trying. It's just a byproduct of that
yeah.
modality of training.
Yeah.
I'm gonna use that word until
Modality. It's getting a little tired now, I think.
Until Patrick
gotta
says
switch
stop
it up.
doing. He's gonna go like this. Stop.
No more modality. Can you? That'll be
We
the
need
title
another
of
one.
this
Can you
video.
look up another word for modality, please? Yeah, thanks.
That'll be the title of this video. Modality of training.
Modality of training. So what I'd like to
people
do?
go, what?
Yeah, no. The guy's
hell's that?
talking about modality. Another way of training. Yours is kind of very typical of people in the gym.
I don't like to be typical.
Sorry,
I like to be
You're
different.
not in many other ways.
That's good to hear, because
In
being
many
typical
other
would
ways.
just drive me nuts.
Oh yeah, I know. It's not in your DNA.
No.
Yeah, give me a word. It's freaking boring compared to
Method,
modality.
procedures, process. I like modality.
Modality.
Yeah, that's great. Those are boring words. Thanks for trying. Yeah.
Thank you. So another way of doing it, and it's time efficient, is full body workouts.
Yes. Okay.
So and that
And
works.
I've done those with Jordan too. Those are exhausting.
Yeah, they can. Well, so is what you're doing. It just depends. Like,
But a full body workout, like, I mean, my body's done. Like,
you're done. Yeah, and that's a nice thing about it. I like.
so what's the advantage of full body?
It's very athletic. It builds more of an athletic
Right.
a physique and an athletic capabilities.
So one of the things I probably train my glutes twice a week now, at least. And
You are vain.
Huh?
Oh, you're vain.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. I want my ass to look.
Oh
good
yeah,
in
it's
jeans.
got to be round. You know,
Yeah.
I've had compliments on it, so
Oh,
I got to keep those coming.
Yeah.
And hill training, of course, works the glutes
Oh,
anyways. Like
yeah.
like anything that's going uphill, it's working your glutes. So I probably do it more in the summer. I probably do it more than twice a week. I probably do it 3 or 4 times a week. But I like to separate legs and glutes because it's a really important muscle, and it's been age. The one part of us that starts to diminish first is our legs. And I read about that. I thought, oh, that's pretty tragic. Like, and I've seen older guys who are decently muscular, not big, but just decent, and just sticks of legs.
Okay.
What?
Same here. I'll notice, let's say I see a dude with his big back, big upper body. To me, and then I look and we see that typical chicken leg thing, and no butt. To me, my first thing is he's weak. I don't care how big his upper body is. The power is generated from the low back downward.
Yeah.
So I'll look at that guy and say, I could take him.
Yeah, that's right.
Honestly, though.
Yeah, but you probably could, yeah.
Probably. But but it's important. That lower body, the power is there.
Stability, especially as you get older. Stability, older people fall. Well, they don't have they don't have core and the legs, right? So core and legs were the last thing on my mind for the longest time. And I'll give credit to Sherry. Shout out to Sherry.
Yay.
That she got me into legs. And I used to think, legs, that's just like, that's secondary. Let's do all the stuff that
Doesn't show in a tank top.
Yeah, that's right. Let's do all the stuff I can flex in front of people, you know? And she got me into legs, and now I'm just like, I love legs and I love glutes, and I'm happy to do them a couple times. I'd rather do them and no other body part. If I had to choose a body part, it would be legs.
No kidding.
Yeah. And that's why I like to separate them out. Plus this idea that as men age, that the legs just start to lose muscle. And there's a lot of reasons why that's a bad thing. And we talked about, stability and all and mobility and all that thing, right? And
apparently you become more insulin resistant if you don't train your legs.
That's right. And then core. Core is another one that I like to either include in every workout or include in a lot of the workouts. Like it's not something I would just do on its own. I could, but I'd like, and Jordan will typically dab it in with each workout or a bunch of workouts, right? And that's another thing for stability. Like, when I started kickboxing, and that's a number of years ago now, there's a lot of twisting in kickboxing, because you're always twisting.
Rotating the hips.
Yeah, rotating the hips and rotating the body, right? And so it's this constant movement, and the spine is just going like this all day. And what happened was because I didn't have a strong core, it would get irritated. My lower spine would get irritated, and then the muscles would, there's a natural reaction to when the spine starts to get a little inflamed. The muscles go to protect it, right? This is sort of a natural reaction of the body. Problem is when my muscles went to protect it, they would grab it and go so tight around and sometimes one muscle was stronger than the other. It would pull my spine out of alignment. And so it looked like I had scoliosis.
Oh, shoot.
Yeah. And I couldn't walk and whatever. And it was painful as hell. It's only happened to me a few times. And so actually more so since starting with Jordan, he's been working on my core. My core is probably my strength. Like it's probably the best thing I have going for me.
I love hearing that. You took their weak part and then just
and it's like one of my and it changes everything.
Yeah,
I haven't had back problems. I haven't had any and balance. You get a lot of balance and stability from.
You can take a hit to the gut too, right?
I could take a good hit to the gut. Yeah, I've taken a few, and so that and legs. So those are my two favorite. So when you say doing full body, but I would still want to break out and do a leg and a core workout. You know what I mean? And glutes because I'm vain.
So within the full body, you can emphasize. You can really dive deep into that. You can emphasize, say, okay, on Monday it's going to be a leg focus. So you start off with legs, and then you can just pepper in some upper body stuff.
Yeah.
And then on Wednesday you can put a little bit more emphasis on upper body, and you still have legs going.
Yeah.
So it's because of the frequency. you're hitting them 3 times a week. Typically, full bodies 3 times a week, Monday, Wednesday, Friday, or Tuesday.
And do you do anything in between? Would you do anything in between, or you just work
By
out 3
myself?
times? Well, if you're doing full body, would you just so you work out 3 times a week and nothing for 4 days a week?
No, cardio would be in between. I like to do some movement stuff, like animal flow, groundwork, a lot of mobility, cardio, some striking, just fun stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, it's every day for me. Something is every day. Yeah, I do something every day.
Yeah. So I like the idea of doing weights at least 3 times a week, resistance training 3 times a week, maybe 4. I like the idea of doing some level of cardio a couple of times a week, and that's really it. You know, I got about 6 days covered, or 5 or 6 days a week.
It's plenty.
Yeah,
The recovery is important.
and I would say to people who don't work out, you don't have to work out 5 days a week, and you don't have to go for an hour and a half, 2 hours.
No.
You know, half an hour. I think it's better to show up at the gym twice a week for half an hour and do something than just think, oh, it's too big of a
daunting
hill to
and-
climb, you know?
Yeah.
Like, I'm just, training, and, people go in, I think we talked about this before. People go in on after January, their New Year's resolutions, and the gym's like packed for a month or two, right? With people, all these great ideas of how they want to improve their body, but then they just have these lofty ideas of what's going to happen. It's a process, right? I mean, effectively, what building muscle is the tearing of the muscles, right? A micro tears, right? Am I right?
That's right. Yeah.
And then it builds back up and it grows a little bit bigger and stronger and bigger and stronger and bigger and
So
stronger.
rest and nutrition will allow for that to happen. Yeah.
So, they go in with these super lofty goals of I'm going to go and I'm going to get jacked. My son, well, he's been working out with me for probably a year now. And, when he started, he probably wanted to come because I'm his dad and, he looks up to me. So he wanted to kind of do what I do. But he complained every time that he really didn't like it, and he kept looking at himself in the mirror. I said, I haven't gained anything. I said, you got to give it time, like you're not, and he's obviously in a peak age where he can gain muscle
Sure.
better than he's got.
Testosterone.
Yeah, he's 16 years
growth
old. It's all it's all a rage there, But now I don't know if it's a year, maybe it's 8 months. Now he can see, and he's got veins and he's got a little bit of muscle and he's got a chest. He's got a little shelf here, not a huge one, but a little shelf and a little bit of a six.
Do you notice that is
and he's looking in the mirror way too much now, but whatever.
But he's motivated.
Now he's motivated. Now he's into it, because he started to see results. But he had to go for months and months until physically he could see. We took before pictures. I should do some after pictures soon, but at least midway pictures or whatever. But yes, now he's motivated. But people will often go and they want to see change in a month. Well, you got to see something in a month, but you're not going to be Arnold Schwarzenegger in a month, I'm not Arnold Schwarzenegger. I've been working out for years.
Yeah. Well, there's a few reasons for that, though. I mean, you're not on steroids.
I'm not taking steroids. No.
You're not eating like a bodybuilder. You're not living like a bodybuilder. I mean, it's a full time. It's a full time thing.
Yeah.
To do that.
So I would encourage anybody who wants to get because that is one of the pillars of exercise, right? And it can be different forms that we talked about, but is to well, I suggest this for everything, whether it be lifestyle diet, whether it be exercise. Just start slowly.
Yes.
Take a baby step. Do one thing. Go to the gym.
Start walking.
Start walking.
In a previous episode. Yeah, and then go to the gym once or twice.
Go to the gym once a week, and you're going to start to like it maybe. And one thing I like about going to the gym rather than working out at home is there's a social aspect to it. Right. And I like to say hi to people and whatever. Right. So and if you go to the same gym long enough, half the people and. Yeah. So I know you have a home gym, but during COVID I was working out at home, but I really couldn't wait to get back to the gym. Okay, yeah. And also for me, every place has its purpose. Like I like to go to the gym to work out, or outside, a hill or whatever. I like to go to the office to work, and I like to come home to relax, and hang out.
Makes sense, actually. Yeah.
So the nice thing about going to a gym, so you go once a week, and try it for a month, once a week, and then maybe you're going to start to you're going to meet a few people, you're going to. So, I'm going to go twice a week. Now, what I find is I have it in my schedule, like there are a lot of times in my my iCalendar, is my workout times, and my staff know it, and everybody knows it, and they don't ever book. The new staff comes along and they try and can we put it here where you're working out? No, that's just a bad idea. Don't ever ask me that again.
The senior people probably tell them that.
Yeah.
the new
There's
guys.
two things they don't do. Don't book over my exercise time and don't touch my pen. I have a
Don't
nice,
eat my bacon.
I have a nice Mont Blanc pen.
yeah.
I paid a
Yeah,
lot
I
of money
can't
for it.
miss
It's white and gold. And anyways, it's pretty. But nobody's allowed to touch it. There was a guy who worked for me. This is an aside. Guy who worked for me, and he was a really bold guy. And one day I walk into my office, and he's got his feet up on my desk. He's sitting in my chair with my pen in his hand. He's interviewing a guy. And I'm like, are you serious, man? Like, I was...
Tell us what you really thought.
I wanted to kill the guy. Like,
Okay,
it's
thank
like,
you,
what
yeah.
the hell, man? Anyways, that's neither here. He doesn't work for me anymore.
We didn't get off course that much on this show.
No.
Wow.
So I again, back to if you're starting out, don't. I mean, unless that's your personality and you're an all-in personality. I'm typically an all-in personality, and I'll stay the course, but don't look for immediate results. Wait, same with intermittent fasting, or same with lifestyle diet, or same with anything that we're talking about. Don't expect miracles.
Build up to it.
Yeah, build up to it slowly,
so-
one step at a time, and you'll look back in a year and go, oh, wow, I'm training 3 times a week, and I feel great, and I look great, and
Consider it a journey, right? Don't
Yeah.
think of the destination, that typical thing. And it's
Yeah.
a process, like you said.
And so, it's funny, these people who go sign up in a January, February, and, a lot of these, most gyms now have monthly memberships, right? Especially the cheaper ones, right? And it's like $9 every 2 weeks or
right.
whatever.
Anytime.
And then they stop going, and they just keep that. And these guys, they depend on that for to make money, right? The people come in and they never come back, so they can sell 10 times the amount of volume they could actually have in that gym,
Right.
because they know people aren't coming, right? And people just keep paying us $9 every two. It's nothing. I'm going to go back. Well, I'm going to go back. I'll just
Keep my membership.
Yeah, keep it just in case when I go back. Go back.
Yeah.
That's what I suggest.
Yeah. So why don't we end off by saying to people who are just getting into exercise, most people think cardio first. I'd like to have people change their mindset and resistance training and add in walking.
Walking's great, and walking. Look, everybody
Every
walks.
day.
We walk everywhere. Like
Yeah. Just walk
unless,
more.
unless you're in a wheelchair or something. But I mean, walk,
Walk.
and not a fast walk, just a walk.
Walk, yeah.
As a matter of fact, it's Danelle and I talked about. My wife and I talked about. We should go for a walk after dinner. We don't, but it'd be good to go for a walk after dinner. It's really good for your digestion. And
It lowers insulin.
Yeah,
There's a
everything.
lot. That's another topic.
another topic,
Yeah.
going for a walk with my wife.
Yeah.
All right. Well, that's a great show.
Yeah,
Thanks,
that's
Eli.
fine. Thank you.
I learned a lot.
I didn't.
Okay. Well, because you're smarter than me. That's
Yeah,
why.
that's right. Apparently.
All right. Well, thanks, guys.
Thank you.
All right. Take care.
That was fun.
Yeah. Yeah. You know a lot more about exercise than I do.
I just love that.